First, again, let me express appreciation to the Minister of Information and the management of the Federal Ministry of Information for keeping this program very much alive. This is the third time since I became minister that I'll be appearing on this particular platform, the Ministerial platform. And that goes to show the excellence that has been injected in this ministry and the progress that has been made regarding how official information is communicated to the citizenry and to the rest of the world. Congratulations, my brother, the Minister of Information. Well, it's just as good that the vision and mission is appearing there. But what I want to do this afternoon is to say, what is the reason for this endeavor? What is it that the Federal Ministry of Health and its agencies, what are they really doing that will make Nigerians to say, yes, there's a need for that ministry, there's a need for those agencies, and that is the end result. Today, we are here on this platform at an important moment in the life of this country, an important moment in the life of the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. We know that next year, this present administration will come to an end and there will be elections. What has been happening since this administration came on board? This is the time to discuss that. This is time to say, has there been any change in the situation, in the lives of Nigerians, health-wise? I want to say, certainly, there has been a positive change. There has been a positive change. Actually, one of the things we changed when President Jonathan came was the vision of the Federal Ministry of Health. We felt it was not enough to operate locally. We felt we needed to operate beyond even the world standards. And that's why the vision statement says, a world-class government institution that ensures a healthy Nigeria. Even before we tackled and conquered Ebola in the first battle that came to us here, I'm waiting if he wants to come back, we'll battle it, but he's not coming back. We had long decided where we wanted to play. We had decided we were going to play at the world-class level because that vision, that new vision, was introduced early in 2012. So that wasn't the vision. The vision was a bit limited, but we felt we needed to go much, much higher than that. We have done so many things. We've done so many things in the health sector. But you know something about the health sector? When things appear normal, when everybody is walking around healthy, the work is taken for granted. For you to remain healthy, someone is keeping alert. Someone is doing some work. And that is the health sector. For Nigerians who have been enjoying healthy lives, there are people who are ensuring that, and that is the health sector. I just want to make that point. That sometimes when people don't have any disease, they think there's nothing happening. No. It just means that the health sector is at its best. But what simply happened was that I think God wanted to confirm what the Minister of Health, what the Minister of State for Health, what the Permanent Secretary Health, what all the Directors General, the Executive Directors, the Executive Secretaries working in this sector have always said that we're indeed working. And he said, okay, let's test that system that they are building. And you agree with me today that if you need to combat Ebola virus disease, the reference point is Nigeria for the whole world. That is the meaning of world class. That is the meaning of world class. Now, what's the mission? The mission says we take the lead, but we do it in partnership. When we also tested by Ebola, that was the time we tested that mission statement. Certainly, starting from Mr. President, who was the commander-in-chief, and through the ministers. I think the Minister of Health was the Chief of Defense Staff. And then that's the General Officer Commanding, the Minister of State. The President took leadership and delegated the Minister of Health, who then took direct leadership of that health sector, whether we're operating at the federal level, whether we're operating at the state level, whether we're operating at the local level, local government level, or whether we're operating at the level of individuals. It was all leadership by example, partnership that was enduring, leadership that led the way to success, partnership that guaranteed that success. That's what it was. And in health matters, we don't play politics. We don't play politics. In health matters, the interest is the well-being of the Nigerian. Next slide. Well, part of the mission next. Now stop here. Now, while you are watching that, I just want to tell you what has changed since President Jonathan came on board. What has changed? Now, taking a look at the statistics, what are those important statistics we need to look at? When President Jonathan came on board, we were still battling with guinea worm disease. Today, there's no single case of guinea worm disease in Nigeria. And you know that the WHO certification came at the right time as a birthday gift, 100 years of Nigeria, since we became a nation, not just independence, since we became a nation, 100 years. And WHO gave us that birthday gift as a certificate declaring Nigeria totally free of the guinea worm disease. There are still countries that are battling with guinea worm disease, but Nigeria will not board last. Nigeria has never been last. Even in smallpox, Nigeria eradicated smallpox way ahead of many states, many countries. What about polio? Even in 2011, we had 62 cases of polio, white polio virus incidents. At that time, 8 states, 30 local governments were suffering from polio. What is the situation today? Since the beginning of this year, we've had only 6 cases. 6 and 62, are they the same? So it should be clapping now if they are not the same. Instead of 8 states, only 2 states do we have any instance of polio this year. Instead of 30 local government areas, we are talking only of 4 local government areas now. We are talking about the results, what makes meaning, the impact. I will tell the story later, but let me say what the impact has been. Then you look at our infant mortality. Our infant mortality. Before President Jonathan came, it was 75 per 1,000. We've had a modest reduction. We are now 61. It's coming down, and we're on track. So almost 20% reduction in infant mortality since President Jonathan came on board. Almost 1/5, yeah. Then if you take the rest of the children, those above up to the age of 5, children under the age of 5, not just infants. Infants are those below the age of 1. When President Jonathan came, it was 157 per 1,000. Now it is 94 per 1,000. 40% reduction since President Jonathan came on board. We are moving on. We need to give credit where that credit ought to go to. What about our mothers? What about maternal mortality? When President Jonathan came on board, we are talking about 545 per 100,000. Where are we today? 350. It has moved from 545 to 350. 35% reduction since this particular president came on board. But of course, Nigeria when people say, are you going to achieve the MDGs? I say, well, even if we don't achieve the MDGs as far as maternal health is concerned, maybe next year we may still achieve it. But even if we didn't, we've made tremendous progress. Nigeria has been moving. Since when we introduced the MDGs at the turn of the century, Nigeria has reduced our maternal mortality in this country by more than 2/3. By more than 2/3. What is the target for the MDGs? Is 75%. So we need to move from 2/3 to 3/4. We need to move from 2/3 to 3/4. It hasn't ended yet. That will come at the end of next year. So we may still meet it. We are working exceedingly hard, believe you me. But what I want to say is that even for the president, what he saw on ground and what he has been able to do, that is 35% reduction. What else do you want to know? There was nothing called Nigeria Center for Disease Control. It takes a vision to know that you may need such an organization. So when President Chukwu came, there was nothing. People now, when they talk about NCDC, it's like they were born with that name. When I hear them talk about it, I say, NCDC is doing well. I say, come. If you remove 5 years, there was nothing like NCDC in this country. And they are looking at me. I say, yes, it never existed. Never existed in our lexicon. It was not in our dictionary. It was not in our consciousness. But today, everybody talks about the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. That is the brigade that went to fight Ebola. Again, established by the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. And today, that is a reference point for the rest of the world. When Africa saw that Nigeria has such a thing, Africa took a decision at the level of presidents that Africa should have the Africa Centers for Disease Control. We are operating at world class. We lead the world. We are not waiting for the world. Part of the reason why we're able to reduce maternal mortality, because we are operating at world class. A drug called misoprostol was not on our essential drug list until President Jonathan came on board. Misoprostol is the drug that can be used in the more rural areas to prevent or to treat the commonest cause why pregnant women die. The #1 cause of maternal death is what is known as postpartum hemorrhage, bleeding following childbirth, uncontrollable, and the woman just dies from loss of blood. And this drug called misoprostol, our own scientists, Nigerian scientists in Nigeria, did a study and found that it was effective. But it took the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan to insist it has to be on the essential drug list. Some people told the minister when we had to do it, don't do that. No other country has put it on its essential drug list. And I laughed. I said, so you have made my day now, so I'm going to be #1. They said, it's not what we are saying, minister. We say, no country is doing it. Why should Nigeria do it? I said, no, what I want to hear, do you mean I'll be the first person to do it? They couldn't answer. I said, okay, if I'm going to be the first person, we'll do it. 5 months later, WHO put it in their own essential drug list. That is what we meant by world class in all our approach. Now, I'm taking time to do impact because the rest is video show. You stay back and watch the video show. But I want you to know when Jonathan came on board, there was no national VVF center. Today we are talking of 3. From 0 to 3. Before President Jonathan came on board, we had 7 national blood transfusion centers. Now, when we have terrorist attacks now, at least the problem is not from blood. But we had 7 national blood transfusion centers. Today we have 17. More than double the number. More than double the number. And you are talking about health insurance coverage, total in the country. At the time President Jonathan came on board, we are hovering around 5%. We've moved. We're talking about 7.4% of the population today. I know Nigeria has a large population. President wants to take it to where? 30%. And very soon, the president is going to flag off an additional 24 million Nigerians who will come on board. Very soon, because all our school children At the primary school level, they are all going to be on health insurance, courtesy Mr. President, President Goodluck Jonathan. At the time President Jonathan came on board, we had stopped sending resident doctors out of the country. And that is why when sometimes resident doctors say they are striking, I say, you can't be against this president unless you are not grateful. There was nothing like that. It took President Jonathan to direct that in 2012, 60 doctors should be sent abroad for those skills that we could not impart in the country. It wasn't there. Now people can go on strike because they say it's not well funded, but it wasn't there at all. There's a difference when something is absent and when it's there. When someone say, I've had lunch, but I'm not yet full, and another person who have not seen food is looking at that person, you know how the person will be looking at the person. Someone is saying he has not had enough. Someone say, I've not eaten for 3 days. That's the situation. That was the situation. For more than 20 years, did you do any single case of open heart surgery in Nigeria? Today, 4 hospitals in Nigeria, I'm talking of only government hospitals, but if we include the private hospital, 5 hospitals in Nigeria have the capacity to do open heart surgery. Within the last 1 year alone, University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital has performed more than 60 open heart surgeries. For 20 years, no single case. Not even nobody was talking, not even nobody was discussing it. Today, we can send people there for treatment. And it's successful. You are guaranteed world-class treatment. Now, let's see the photographs and videos, just to show you why we are getting all these results. Next one. Yeah, next. I don't want to bore you so much with stories, but we are here to talk about results. Next one. Next one. Yes, some of the policies, because policies are the things that drive anything you are going to do. You must start from policies. You may go to laws if it's necessary, and then you begin to implement. When you now talk about national oral health policy, doesn't it surprise you that before President Jonathan, nobody talked about oral health as a policy? You may say we got independence in 1960. But it's during this administration that the first ever national oral health policy for this country was formulated, approved by the National Council on Health, taken to the Federal Executive Council, and the Presidency Council approved it. That is just to tell you. It was under President Goodluck Jonathan that we had the Federal Executive Council for the first time in this country approve the National Pharmacovigilance Policy. You should be interested in policies. If we didn't have policies, we wouldn't have tackled Ebola. Let me just tell you, it is the policies that led to the tackling of Ebola. So you are seeing the policies that made these things possible. For the first time in this country, we have those policies. It was President Jonathan and his administration that looked at how do we begin to ensure that Nigerians are not exposed to fake and counterfeit drugs. And one of the policies that needed to be implemented had to do with a novel drug distribution policy. That policy, that implementation plan, was approved by the Federal Executive Council under President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, I told you that policies are important, but you also sometimes you need laws. And there are bills that have passed through the Federal Executive Council because of President Goodluck Jonathan. Take something like a new tobacco law. We already have some law in place, but it is not where we should be. Now, this new tobacco law, we are hoping, now that it has been sent to the National Assembly, will ensure that everybody is protected in this country. And President Jonathan demonstrated courage Because if you know how people fight against this type of bill, then you know what, that you require courage to do certain things. That bill sailed through the Federal Executive Council, and today we are waiting with all every hope. We know our National Assembly will look at it and they will pass it. These are some of the things that have been guiding us. Of course, we have always had a plan that has been deciding what we are doing. The National Strategic Health Development Plan, it was approved by the Federal Executive Council, chaired by President Goodluck Jonathan. President Jonathan also inaugurated it and launched it. And today, that plan, every year, we do a joint annual review to see how well we are doing. It is not about just having a policy. It's not about having just a plan and you think you are doing well. You need to look at yourself, criticize yourself, so you can continue to do well. Next slide. Okay, hold on with this. Now, again, it may surprise a lot of you that while other people are talking about ambulance service, nobody ever thought about those working in the ambulance. It takes vision. The 100 years of existence of this country, President Goodluck Jonathan's administration has decided we will begin to train paramedics. We have produced a curriculum. We have decided those who will go and accredit the institutions that will train them. We are going to open a register. This is happening now. Now, you can begin to talk about buying ambulances. Very important. It's easy to talk about these things. What about medical physicists? Who are those people? Yes, when you have cancer, which is an unfortunate thing, but there's hope. One of the treatment modalities is radiotherapy. We are beginning to have a number of radiotherapies, thanks to the training currently going on. But there's a group, many people don't know. They have to calculate the dosage. They have to focus the radiotherapy to ensure it does not go to where we didn't want the rays to go, so that you don't develop complications. 100 years as a nation, 50-something years as an independent country, we did not have a register. Now, we have a register for medical physicists. Medical physicists, for you even to begin to think and dream to be a medical physicist, you must have a minimum of masters in physics. I think it's very easy, isn't it? Masters in physics, is it not easy? You can't do bachelor's even. Now, first you have to get masters in physics. Then you now begin the training to become a medical physicist. Nothing like that. No training. The first ever training on medical physics in Nigeria took place last year. And you know who the president was? Who was the president last year? You've forgotten? No, who was the president? Say it loud now. After 53 years of independence, after 100 years as a nation, it took someone and the leadership to move a team to get things doing in this country. Now we are registering them, we are training them, we have drafted a bill so that they will have their own council. That is what we mean by transformation. Now, within this period, we said Nigeria cannot remain static. We have to be world class. Yes, it's the duty of the Senate of every university to approve the curriculum of any course. But we felt we could help. And working with our diaspora, those of us who are living outside, Nigerians, good Nigerians, wonderful Nigerians, intelligent Nigerians, world-class Nigerians, working with them, we were able to produce a new template for training doctors, which is what no country in the world has had. They will be copying it, but they won't give us the credit. And we worked with the National Universities Commission. We worked with the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. We worked with the medical schools. All the stakeholders, everybody was on board. Today, we have something, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. For e-Senate, they just need to put a few local things there, and they fly with it. We worked with the Federal Ministry of Education because it has to be a collaborative effort. That is why both Minister of Health and Minister of Education wrote the foreword to the document. Now, what about herbal medicine? Nigeria should actually be the home and the headquarters of herbal medicine. Except that we have never done one thing. If someone is going to be a herbal practitioner, that person is doctor. It doesn't need to put N doctor. I'm a native doctor because I'm a native of this country. Of your method of treatment. It took this administration to tell Nigerians the truth, that why we are not progressing is because we didn't realize that the first job of a doctor is to make a diagnosis. The first job of a doctor is to make a diagnosis. You've seen what has happened in some countries where an Ebola patient came, they didn't make a diagnosis, they were given antibiotics, he failed. The first function of a doctor is to make a diagnosis. So if you are going to be a herbal practitioner, you must know how to make a diagnosis. Because even if your great-great-grandfather told you that this tree he planted will stop fever, will stop malaria, how do you know it's not Ebola virus disease? How do you know it's not typhoid fever? All of them come with fever. So, diagnosis. And if you must make diagnosis, you must go and learn the science of making a diagnosis. You must know physiology, you must know biochemistry, you must know pathology, pharmacology, just name it. So now, herbal medicine is going to the university, to the medical school, courtesy of the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. We set a high-powered body, including those people you used to refer to before as native doctors. They were part of those committees, and they are happy. They gave a special award to Mr. President, and they gave another award to the Mr. Minister, saying for the first time we have people who really want to move herbal medicine and take it to the international level, to world class. So don't be surprised next year when your son says, Daddy, Mommy, I want to go and study herbal medicine. Yes, the drugs are there. Go and ask NAFDAC. The drugs are there. But we need the doctors, and they have to be trained. When that happens, you choose. When you go, you have malaria, they make the diagnosis, they tell you they can give you this drug or you can take this one. The choice is yours when they after telling you. That is where we want to be, and we'll teach the rest of the world. Herbal products. Why must Nigeria import herbal products? When this is the home. When this is the home. Why must we? So we are going to ensure that we're just exporting, but of course NAFDAC must be sure what we're exporting, but we're going to be exporting. Now, primary care remains the bedrock. Primary care is the bedrock. Now people ask, can we quantify what we do in the health sector? Now that is what you have on the screen. The President launched the Saving 1 Million Lives initiative October 2012. And since then, we have calculated just from that initiative alone how many Nigerian lives have been saved. These are people who should have been, you have been reading in the pages of newspapers, obituary. But see it here, saved. Next slide. Next one. Well, you know about the National Health Bill. It's still at the National Assembly. They are tidying it up. They will soon, hopefully when they resume, they will transmit it to Mr. President, and Mr. President will assent to the National Health Bill. National Health Bill will bring more predictable funding to the health sector. National Health Bill, when it becomes an act, will enable money to be made available by government for emergencies. You know what happens with emergencies? That's why people must travel with their ID cards, because when you have road accident, for instance, you can become unconscious. So God will then send a good Nigerian who may rescue you, take you to a hospital, it's a private hospital. Now private hospitals survive because people pay fees. If people get where they don't pay, that hospital will go down. How do you pay? Now for the first time, that's what the National Health Bill is all about. For the first time, we're going to have predictable funding kept somewhere for all Nigerians. So all you need to do is have your ID as a Nigerian. You will benefit from that. Nobody prays for these accidents, just like nobody prays for any death. But why you know that people actually know that illness will always come is that they're always telling their children, put medicine during jam filling form, put medicine. If you ask your child to go and read medical lab science or pharmacy or nursing or medicine, don't say you reject it. You are not wishing other people ill luck. It's for everybody. I hope people understand it. So anytime you want your son to go and read medicine, what you are saying is that people will get sick. And when you see a mortician living near you, it reminds you that people will die one day. So we just want to get ready and make sure no Nigerian is taken by surprise. That is all we are doing. Now, Nigeria championed something for the World Health Organization. Nigeria is a world leader. We sponsored a resolution so that this trafficking of counterfeit drugs across countries and people coming even to Nigeria to dump these drugs will stop. Of course, those making money from it opposed it, but we knew where we are going. After 3 years, it was then adopted at the World Health Assembly. So don't think that people just go from Nigeria to World Health Assembly to go and do shopping. No, it's serious work. We don't sleep when we go there. So you can see what we are doing. Next. Now, talking about fake drugs even, we have introduced IT into it because this is the age of technology. We cannot go less than world class. Now, when I represented Mr. President, when NAFDAC was ready and invited Mr. President said, Minister, go and represent me, and went and launched the use of SMS to verify the products you are buying. Some people were skeptical. But that day, when I got home, someone said they tested. And Honorable Minister, it's true, I was able to confirm. I said, look at you. You thought the president would go and launch something that is fake. Now, even people who buy drugs on board through the TrueScan can verify whether what they are buying is real or not. Again, it was not there until this administration came on board. We are now moving from manual. We don't want to be doing things manually. We want to move things automated, high class, world class, international standards. That's what we are doing. I was somewhere in a meeting yesterday. Someone was saying, Honorable Minister, we have a technology we'll introduce to you. You know, the use of GIS, GPRS to track disease. When he finished, I said, how do you think we've been tracking polio? How do you think we won Ebola? The person was looking. And they say, Minister, come. People don't know what has happened. It's transformation. Next. Next. Because we need to save you time. We need to talk so many things. Next. Of course, President Jonathan, anything that is good, he will not discard. And part of the problem in Nigeria these years were lack of continuity. Continuity for good things. Obviously, something is not working, should be discarded. But when something is working, if you want a country to progress, continuity. Now, the president inherited the refurbishing of hospitals that was given to a company called VAMED. But because he saw that it was a good project, he went ahead and commissioned a number of hospitals. If you go to somewhere like Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, you'll be proud you are a Nigerian. Go there. If you go to Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital in Sokoto, you'll be very proud you are a Nigerian. Honorable Minister, we went with you to Jos on good governance stuff with the media. And as it happened, I think God planned it. So at seeing will be believing. There was all the RL, CT scan, MRI. And then the consultant neurosurgeon, world-class neurosurgeon was there. And he was explaining it to the media. You see, this is the blood clot in this brain. That's why this man is unconscious. In the next 1 hour, the theater is being prepared now. I'm going to take him there. Once I evacuate the blood, the man will wake up. Then when we came out, the media was saying, Minister, you didn't tell us all this. I said, see me trouble. We've been coming here. Haven't we been telling them? I'm telling you again this afternoon. And that was just. Go to Ife, Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, Ile-Ife. Go to University of Benin Teaching Hospital, Benin. Just go to any of these hospitals. You'll be surprised what you have in this country. And you begin to say, I didn't know. Now we're telling you, you know. You know. Go there, you'll be proud. Next one. So, President Jonathan has now approved a phase 3 of this VAMED program. So those other teaching hospitals that are yet to benefit will benefit. Next one. Okay, I'll show you pictures. Nightbridge. They told Mr. President that they'll be building something for 20 years, but they didn't have money to build it until he came on board. They gave them money. Now they completed it. That's why they commissioned such a gigantic building. Action, that's what we're talking about. Action, action, action. So all these are physical developments. Next. Now there was nothing called federal. Yes. Next one. That one is Bauchi. Go back to that. Okay. We are promoting dental health, oral health. So we buy equipment, we distribute up to the local government level. So this is the FMC Azare. Next. Now, there's something that has happened in the health sector. Now, we have a lab now, which was built by the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria to make sure they are world standards and they also conform with the standards in Nigeria. So Mr. President asked me to go and do that on his behalf. Next. Now, the Federal Star Hospital, before the president goes anywhere, we have to be sure that it is what they claim that the president will not go and commission anything that doesn't function. Next. Now, when I came on board, I said, look, everybody must move to the federal capital. Not only can they do kidney transplants, but they can also do open heart surgery. So just telling you how their ICU looks. That's at those people from Kwara. That's your place. Next. Now this is Newi, Namdi. Don't think that Newi is all about manufacture of spare parts, manufacture of electronics and trading. No. Even in health, they are doing very well. Of course, you know who Nnamdi Azikiwe was. So you can't name any hospital after him, Ikiwe University Hospital. Next. Next, that's Calabar, University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. Again, part of the VAMAID project. Next. Next. Yeah. Mr. President will commission 2 buildings for NCDC. Their main administrative block, which is such a gigantic beauty. But this is the laboratory. Of course, they have series of laboratories. That's why we can diagnose Ebola virus disease in at least 6 laboratories in Nigeria today. But this will be the headquarters of all the laboratories under the NCDC. Very soon, the president will go and commission. Next. Next. Now, we started developing trauma centers. And the first of those special trauma centers to be commissioned by Mr. President is this. Of course, that day, he asked the Vice President, His Excellency, the Vice President, to come. Many of my colleagues, fellow ministers who have gone there, they came to me and said, Minister, we never knew this kind of thing was possible in Nigeria. I said, look at the people doing it. Are they not world class? They couldn't talk. So that's National Trauma Center at the National Hospital. We don't wish anybody, we don't wish you trauma. But if you take permission from the management, you can be guided through the place. You can be shown onto in Nigeria. You can come by helicopter, you can land on top. No, show it back. Yeah. On top there, there's a helipad. So if you like, come by helicopter, no problem. Next one. Yeah, that's His Excellency, the Vice President on that day, landed. Next. 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 Okay. Next one. Next. Next. Okay, go back. Regulatory and administrative complex. A lot of work is going on in NIPRI, within the FCT. So much is going on. So the president came by himself to commission that edifice. Next. Now, one of those structures we had that enabled us to have capacity to do with Ebola virus disease, a special intensive care unit for when someone is really critically ill from diseases like Ebola virus. Here at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, I commissioned this myself. Next. Now, Ibadan. University College Hospital Ibadan decided also to take the idea of PPP to a different level. Now, this cardiac center in Ibadan, which I commissioned, is a good example of PPP. If you go there, let me give you 2 stories. One story was that A reverend gentleman visited Nigeria for a conference and then suddenly developed chest pain in Enugu. A loss. Loot was, you know, that man sitting near you people, the executive secretary of National Health Insurance, those are the people who opened the heart. That man is a dangerous man. Started with our hospital in Uyo. He too agrees. Uyo, go there. When the first, of course, they've done more since then. When the first stem cell transplant was done for sickle cell, where, you know, sickle cell is SS. But if the person starts producing AA, it's like anybody. So that's the meaning. They transplant the bone marrow. And because of the success, they've done quite a number. So that's been it for you. Now, all of us, we're all growing old. It's only bad people that don't think of the day they retire. I always tell civil servants, if you know that everybody must retire, then pension and gratuity should be the easiest process. We are thinking like that in the health sector. We know all of us will grow old. Thanks to people like Chief Tony Aneni, who supported UCH. Again, why I'm saying that is to encourage other Nigerians that you can work with government. Chief Tony Aneni supported and worked with UCH to produce the first built-to-purpose geriatric unit. Of course, National Council of Health has already taken the decision that every hospital must have a geriatric unit to take care of senior citizens. Go there. I'm sure some of the people who go there will just say, ah, God, it's good to grow old. Next one. Over 40 centers in Nigeria can do what you call dialysis. But 6 of federal government hospitals can do kidney transplant. So the only thing that is stopping the issues now is just the cost. But National Health Insurance is working hard. We'll find an answer to the cost. But if it's hospitals that can do kidney transplant, federal government hospitals alone, 6 of them. And we have listed them. Next. Why we list them is that you can go there and verify. Okay? Next. Laparoscopy surgery is common now in Nigeria. If you go to a place like Ife, it's like routine for them. If you don't want a big scar, they do a small scar for you and do the same surgery. So those of you who don't like big scars, like our beautiful ladies, please patronize them. That's what you should be doing, not going abroad. Now, cancer control. We are working very hard on that. And these are regional centers dedicated. We supply them with state-of-the-art equipment, particularly for 3 types of diseases. Cancer of the breast, cancer of the cervix, and for men, prostate cancer. Go there. Go to the one in Abakaliki. Go there. Now, over more than 2,000 women have been screened. And with the instruments and the equipment we provided them, when they screen you, if it's a tiny lesion, they just take care of it and send it in for biopsy. Then if it's a bigger lesion, they take you to the proper theater and do the bigger surgery. The women are happy for that because we are preventing. And mark you, we introduced the vaccine for the first time, working with the First Lady of Nigeria, then Patience Jonathan. We worked with her in 2010 and 2011. We did that just to introduce school children, over 200 school children. We immunized them so that they will never get cancer of the cervix. Now, we have now included it. If you ask the ED of National Primary Care Development Agency, it's part of what we are planning next year to become national program. Next. I've told you about VVF. Those are the 3 national centers now. And you can see what one of them is already doing. All of them, they are very busy. Remember that when the president was presenting the 2013 budget, 2014 budget, he made it clear that there was special fund just for our women and girls. And one of the areas Federal Ministry of Health decided to work on was to increase the number of women, because there's a backlog. What we are doing now is prevention, but there's a backlog of women with VVF. And under that program alone, not the routine ones, under that program alone, we did over 2,000. Next one. I can't possibly tell you everything. Some of them you read later. Next. Next one. Now, Federal Medical Center here. The then Minister of Health, when we had an unfortunate incident when some officials of the National Association of Nigerian Students, you are waking up now, one of their former leaders, when unfortunately they had an accident, the Minister of Education, because this was the education sector, visited, because they were treated, they were going to Calabar, and before they got to college, they had that access. So the hospital they took them to was FM Sumwa here. The first micro-surgical operation, they sent us this photograph. So it doesn't have to be a big teaching hospital. This Federal Medical Center, Umaya. There, the hospital, they even produce their own sanitizers. So when the hospital is even going that far, you know that they've conquered a lot of things. Next. The immunization coverage in Nigeria was hovering less than 50. Now, we're almost 70% coverage. Our target is 90% and above, but we're hovering over that. In some areas, actually, I'm talking of national average coverage, but in some states, we're already hitting 92%. You can now see that mistake is not only restricted to Nigerians, mistake is everywhere. So don't think Nigerians are different. We're all human beings. Anybody can make mistakes, but what is important is not to repeat the same mistake. So you move forward from the time. Nigeria is a place people are wondering, how did we do it? We lost people, unfortunately. We lost. Even though not as much as we lose in other parts of the world, but we lost people. May their soul rest in peace because they were the martyrs of this war. But majority of the people we had to admit because of Ebola virus disease, the vast majority were discharged. And they are the healthiest people. If you want one person you need to invite to your house, and so you are not afraid of Ebola virus, the survivors, they are the best. Not even your spouses, not even your children, not even the minister. It is the survivors. They are the safest people as far as Ebola virus disease is concerned. They can't give you Ebola virus disease. They are the best. So that's the statistics. But what was important is that we worked as a team. We worked as a team, starting from Mr. President. Now, what people did not know is that we never slept. In June 2014, in March 2014, there was no Ebola virus disease in Nigeria, but we heard that there was Ebola virus disease in Guinea. We don't share any border with Guinea, but it's part of ECOWAS. The Minister of Health, that is me, personally signed letters to all the governors of Nigeria, copied all the commissioners for health, and also the Minister of FCT and the Secretary of Health of the FCT, to allow them. And we started training. If you ask the commissioner, they will tell you, yes, Federal Ministry of Health sent people through the NCDC. We started training people to prepare. That time, we never had it. Then the president went to a meeting of ECOWAS, where, together with other leaders, they agreed that they would, like Minister of Information said, Mr. President, again, demonstrating that leadership, declared a national emergency. Declare national emergency to empower the Minister of Health. Look, we can lock you up or to check you. Because if you don't have that emergency, someone will be protesting. Why are you locking me? So to enable us, go to anywhere, enter anywhere, and do things properly. When we say, stay in your house, you stay in your house. That is the whole idea of the emergency declaration. Mr. President followed it up with what? Meeting of all the governors with him. And he said, come with your commissioner for health. Every state, including the FCT, spoke. Meeting lasted 4.5 hours. The president sat there throughout the 4.5 hours.